at the Qingtang Academy is undergoing its usual awakening ceremony. The first girl who went to the front of the stage to touch the stone awakened a C-rank talent, and she looked absolutely disappointed. The other students are also not impressed, but among the students is our MC, John Han, who is worried about what talent he is going to awaken. Just then, Han's girlfriend, Xiao Mei, is called to the front to touch the stone. Upon touching the stone, it unleashes a bright light that catches everyone's attention more than her insane back view. When everything had settled down, she contracted an S-rank spirit, the blood-stained silver spear, the immortal fairy spirit. The students are blown away by this because it's been so long since an S-class bonded spirit has shown up in the Qingtang Academy. To make it even better, it has 2 traits, and since some dude already awakened the S-rank spiritual bond earlier, the students believe that merging with Xiao Mei would make them unstoppable. However, one of the students corrected his friend, reminding him that Xiao Mei already has a boyfriend. They have not even finished discussing this when Mei walks up to Han to do the unthinkable. Without hesitation, she breaks up with Han, telling him that they are no longer on the same level. She shoves him aside, telling him not to come to her again in the future, ultimately leaving Han embarrassed. Han is left speechless, but at the same time he is not a bit worried because he is no longer the simpleton who is always licking Mei's legs just because he wanted them to be together. It turns out that Mei has never respected Han during their so-called relationship. Surprisingly, Han also isekai'd into this world, and after his crossover, everything has become different for him. The other male students also jump into the fray, insulting Han, urging him never to come near Mei if he doesn't want to be taught a good lesson. Han angrily asks them why they are acting all stupid when he can actually awaken an S-rank spirit during his own awakening process. However, they waste no time mocking him, telling him that he has no chance of awakening an S-rank spirit. Even Mei wastes no time dunking on him, and while they are all busy mocking him, Han is called to the front. With the anger in him, he walks to the front to touch the stone. Upon touching the big stone, there is no reaction whatsoever, and his haters are already making fun of him. Mei tells him that he is nothing but a waste because he couldn't even awaken anything, not to mention an S-rank spirit. The other students praise Mei for not staying with a loser like Han, telling her that she actually has a good eye. Suddenly, a massive shockwave hits the stone, and a bright, overwhelming light is what follows. The aura from this almost tears the skin off their bodies while they wonder what sort of spirit he is about to awaken. They start making their assumptions, but they are all wrong because in the end, Han awakens a triple S spiritual contract talent, which is a divine awakening. Mei is immediately crippled in disbelief because she can't believe her eyes. Awakening an SSS-Rank spirit contract master is something that happens just once in 100 years, and she never expected Han to have awakened the rarest contract of all. Even the students who are watching are left in shock because they never believed Han to have the best luck out of them all. Basically, Han now stands above all else, since SSS-Rank masters are known to be history rewriters themselves. In fact, the last SS-Rank spirit contract master single-handedly turned the tide of the war between humans and the insect horde, helping humanity gain a foothold for survival. Apparently, humanity would have achieved total victory if the dude hadn't passed away too early. Han hasn't even stepped off the stage when the girls start shamelessly running over to him, urging him to pick them as his spirit contract. One even urges Han to pick her because she has a lot of cosplay outfits at her house that she can wear every day to look different for Han. However, Han coldly tells all the girls not to rush him because he is not ready to make his decision just yet. Han walks away from them because he knows that they are just going to delay his progress. Han then whips out the status window to check out his stats and abilities. His abilities range from Divine Insight to Observation and Great Harmony with Heaven's Way. The Divine Insight allows him to perceive all spirit contract information and revive the Divine Spirit contracts to their original state. The Observation trait doubles his spirit contract attributes, and the Great Harmony of Heaven's Way makes sure that he doesn't have a limit on the number of spirit contracts that he can make. It doesn't even take long before Mei walks up to Han, suggesting that they get back together because she wasn't expecting him to awaken such incredible talent. Using his skill, he observes Mei's traits, and he realizes that he is able to see everything thanks to the Divine Insight. When Mei realizes that he is mute, she starts offering kisses and all, but Han rejects her without hesitation. Han then decides to walk around with the intention of using his Divine Insight to find suitable spirit contracts. The girls surround him, urging him to pick them, while also making fun of the Academy's beauty, Xia Yue, for awakening a trash E-rank spirit. The other girls are pretty sure that she is done for because no one would choose someone who wasn't able to pass the evaluation ceremony. Tears roll down her face as she wonders why she is getting the unfair treatment that she is just because she awakened an E-rank spirit contract. She closes her eyes in frustration and she walks off in annoyance, but she ends up running into Han. Han grabs her before she falls, and he apologizes for running into her, but she assures him that it is all fine. Han then checks out her stats, and he realizes that she truly awakened an E-rank talent, but there is something different about it. It is an E-rank talent called Fuchi Qin, which is one of the 10 ancient divine artifacts. Han is shocked to see this because he knows that his divine awakening talent can help the E-rank talent reach its potential. Yue notices that he is silent, and she asks him if there is anything wrong. Han then shocks her by revealing that he would like her to be his spirit contract. Yue is stunned when she hears this, and even the other girls don't want to believe their ears. They start asking him why he would form a contract with someone who is considered useless. Before the girls can riot, the principal, Chen Guangpu, comes in. He tells Han that he understands that he might like Yue because she is beautiful, but he tells him that forming a contract with a spirit is not something to be done recklessly. Chen lets Han know that he is the future of the continent, and he has a mission to defeat the insect horde to reclaim the lost lands for humanity. Yue agrees with the principal, telling Han that her talent is not worthy of his. Just then, the guardian of Deep Blue City, Zhao Hu, who is also Mei's godfather, shows up. Hu walks up to Han, accusing him of bullying his goddaughter with his SSS-Rank talent. Hu threatens Han, telling him to be careful because if he decides to make life difficult for him, he will not be able to get out of it. Mei smiles in the background, telling Han to apologize and form a contract with her quickly. However, Han looks at her disgustingly, asking her if she is worthy. This pisses Hu off, and just as he is about to slap Han, Chen grabs his arm, stopping him. Chen urges Hu not to act impulsively because Han is an overwhelming talent, and he has already reported his talent to the higher-ups. Hu then says he is willing to forgive Han, but he has to form a contract with Yue. Deep down, Hu is waiting for Han to disobey him, so he can destroy him. Without hesitation, Han tells them that he is willing to form a contract with Yue because no one would even change his mind about it. Han then holds Yue's hands, telling her to follow him so that they can form a contract together. Yue apologizes for causing her trouble, but he assures her that there is nothing to be worried about because she is worth it. Han immediately activates his skill as he is about to form the contract, and this lets off a massive light that overwhelms everything. It ends up being a success, and Han is given a musical instrument, which is the ancient divine weapon shaped like a sword, Fuchi Qin. Han is completely blown away by what he is looking at because the soul contract consists of attack and support compositions, which are basically a skill with no weakness. After the awakening process, Yue is left in shock because she has upgraded from E-rank to SSS-Rank. She runs into Han's arms, thanking him for turning her life around. On the other hand, Mei is complaining to Hu, telling him that he has to compensate her because Han humiliated her. Hu confidently tells Mei that she has nothing to worry about because he has already contracted with an E-rank spirit, so his talent is automatically ruined. He assures Mei that he is going to continue making his life difficult in the city. He then tells her that he has already arranged everything for the spirit contract assessment that would take place the next day. He boasts about how powerful he is in the city, telling Mei that he is basically a god. Mei thanks Hu for his assistance, but the dude tells her that she has to repay him in some kind of way. Mei then suggests that they head to their usual spot, promising to repay him right there. Hu quickly agrees to this, telling her that he can't wait for them to have a great time together. Some hours later, negative reports surfaced online about Han. The report is all about the fact that he contracted with a low-ranked spirit out of lust. Apparently, all of these are thanks to the infrastructure that Hu has put in place to punish Han. When Mei sees this, she even increases the intensity of the fun she is having with Hu to compensate him harder. This turns him on even harder, and he promises Mei that this is just the start of Han's problems because once the assessment starts, he is going to show him what real cruelty is. The next day, Han and Yue have every eye staring at them in the cafeteria since they are the most popular couple in town. They talk trash about Han, saying he basically ruined his career by contracting with a low-rank spirit. Mei can hear everything they are talking about, and she apologizes for everything Han is going through, but Han tells her not to apologize. He pats her on the head, reminding her that she is the school's most beautiful, so she should have some confidence in herself. He also reminds her to eat a lot so she doesn't fall behind during the spiritual contract master's assessment. Yue acknowledges this, and he urges her to ignore the haters so that they can show them what she is really capable of later on. They are busy enjoying their meal when a rude brat, Wang Lumao, shows up to ruin it. Han looks at him disgustingly before asking him who he is, and he confidently replies that he is Mei's new spirit contractor. Han spits out his food to show his disgust when he hears this, and Yue almost passes out from laughing out loud. Lumao screams at Han like a troll, asking him why he is laughing, and Han replies that he only thought of something funny. Mei then shows up, grabbing Lumao's hand, telling him not to lower himself to Han's level because he is just a piece of trash who willingly fell into disgrace. Since the assessment is about to start, she suggests that they leave, and Lumao threatens Han, telling him to wait for what he is about to do to him. Moments later, they arrive at the arena where the students are gathered. The host steps out to welcome everyone to the assessment exercise. He explains that the test has different difficulty levels for each stage, and just passing one stage already qualifies as success. To start the exercise, Mei and Lumao are welcomed to the stage. The two confidently walk to the stage, and the door of the arena soon opens to unveil a black moth bug, which has a number 7 test difficulty level. The moment the exercise begins, Mei transforms into the spear and Lumao grabs her to engage the insect. Lumao leaps into the air and lunges toward the insect, delivering a powerful slash that knocks the monster to the ground. However, he doesn't stop there as he leaps toward the insect again and pierces its body open with overwhelming strength. The students are wowed when they see just how powerful an S-rank talent spirit contract master is. Meanwhile, the heads of the districts are watching the assessment behind the scenes. One of them, Wei Qing, who is the head of the first district, is not entirely impressed because he believes that Lumao still struggles against the monster. Lin Jingxuan, who is the head of the second district, agrees with his counterpart, saying Mei should have one-shotted the monster, but she still struggled, which means she is 20% weaker than normal S-rank spirits. Lin says Mei probably lacked self-discipline in her lifestyle, which has led to the leakage of spiritual energy. Hu is also in the room, and he obviously knows that they are right, but he can't say anything, even though his guilty face says it all. Back in the arena, the host congratulates Mei and Lumao for passing the test. It turns out that the two have broken the Academy's previous record, which is defeating a level 6 difficulty level. The students are all wowed by this, and they waste no time mocking Han and Yue, saying they would like to see their disgraceful performance. Just then, the examiner invites Yue and Han to the stage, and when the door to the arena opens, they are met with 10 black moth bugs that are level 1. Han is shocked to hear this, and even Yue can't believe her eyes. Even though the bugs are level 1 monsters, they are still 10 in number, so it is basically a level 10 test. Even the students are surprised that Han is getting a tougher test, but they don't really care because they just want him to suffer for contracting with an E-rank spirit. The examiner tells Han that since he is SSS rank, he should face 10 times the difficulty that others would face. It turns out that Hu had made arrangements with the examiner telling him to make life difficult for Han so he wouldn't pass the assessment. Even though the examiner feels bad about the whole thing, he has no choice, and he blames Han for messing with the wrong person. With nothing to do about it, Han has no choice but to face the scary monsters standing in front of him. Even with the number of monsters he has to face, Han is not scared one bit. He tells Yue to transform so that they can engage the monster, and the moment she transforms into the musical weapon, he one-shots the monsters pretty easily. The students are left in shock because it is completely unbelievable that Han, who contracted an E-rank spirit, easily took down the monsters like they were nothing. Those who believed that they were better than Yue don't even know what to believe at this point. Even the examiner is completely stunned, leaving him to wonder who the hell Han is. The district heads stand up to stare at their screen in shock. Wei is totally bamboozled because during his own time it took him 30 seconds to kill as many ants as Han just did, but Han basically did it in 1 second. Lin agrees that Han is strong, but he is worried about the fact that the difficulty of the assessment has increased from the usual. Hu quickly cuts in, revealing that the difficulty was increased by the Guardians of Deep Blue City, temporarily because they want to test Han's capabilities. Deep down, Hu is pissed that Han was able to scale through his first test without a hitch, and he compares him to a freaking cockroach. Wei, on the other hand, is not concerned about the test difficulty because it was the same back in their days. The old man in the room then orders that they continue the assessment because he would like to see Han's limits. The second phase then starts, and 20 ants are unleashed in the arena. Just like before, Han taps into Yue's musical power and wipes out the monsters with ease. Han confidently declares that the monsters are nothing to him and he wants more. The students roar in anger, screaming at Han, saying he is too arrogant. Seeing how impressive Han is, Wei immediately declares that Han is going to be in his district. However, Ye Chu of the 3rd district argues with him, telling him that it would be better for Han to join his district, where Han would be able to grow instead of the 1st district, which is basically a death squad. Wei immediately turns to Ye, asking him if he is trying to snatch Han from him. Ye replies, telling Wei that his sister-in-law is not there at the moment, so he is not scared of him. While the two are busy arguing, the head of the 4th district, Shen Jeki, cuts in, telling the two that it would be better for Han to be with him because his district focuses on relic exploration. The two turn around and scream at the dude, telling him to get lost. The old man, who is their teacher, finally cuts in, screaming at the annoying brats, telling them to stop arguing. The old man then asks Lin what he thinks about the whole assessment, and Lin suggests that they increase the difficulty even more because it appears that the current level is too easy for Han. The old man agrees to this, and the moment Hu hears this, he smiles, believing that Han is screwed. Just then, the examiner informs everyone that the superior has ordered that they raise the difficulty to the highest standard. Han will now face 10 second-tier giant armored lizards and 10 second-tier thunderbirds. When the students hear this, they are completely overwhelmed with fear because they believe that this test is too much for Han to handle. Han, on the other hand, is not even worried, as he tells everyone that the challenge is too low for him. Lumao and Mei mock him for being arrogant, believing that he is about to be beaten up. Han prepares his weapon, and he unleashes armored knights to engage the beasts. The knights dash toward the beasts, cutting down the lizards, while the birds provide long-range attacking cover for their peers. This restrains the knights, and when Han realizes that his knights are being restrained, he swings into action. He unleashes a breakthrough song, and he leaps toward the birds, shattering their defense with one strike. The spectators open their mouths in shock because it is unheard of that a first-tier contract spirit master is taking down a swarm of second-tier beasts as if they are nothing. They are still wondering how Han did it when he unleashed another strike that wipes out the beasts. The spectators watch in awe because they never expected that there would be a student who is even scarier than the monsters themselves in this day and age. They start asking just how much power the dude is hiding in his tank because at this point, he has completed level 3 difficulty. The district heads have all left their seats as they can't believe the immense talent in their presence. Lin says Han's musical skills are unfathomable and his amplifying speed is at least 10 times the normal speed, which is totally unheard of. The old man doesn't want to believe that Yue is just an E-rank spirit, and he calls on his assistant, Afu. Since Afu has the power to identify the rank of contracted spirits, he wants him to check Yue's rank. Afu subtly replies that he already checked, and reveals that Yue's situation is similar to that of another lady named Ling Xen. The old master is shocked when he hears this because it basically means the stone identified her as an E-rank, but her talent said otherwise. Basically, she became so powerful because she formed a contract with Han, and Afu tells the old man that this is the conclusion. The old master is overwhelmed, and he tells Afu that it is imperative that Ling Xen meet Han if that is the case. The old master then asks Afu if he remembers Ling Zhen's E-rank contracted spirit talent, and he replies that it is the Shenong Cauldron. Back in the arena, Han tells the examiner that he would like to continue the assessment, and the man asks him if he is sure about what he is saying. Han assures the man that he is not crazy, and the examiner agrees to his decision, since he believes that Han is just an eager youth. Han is then upgraded to the level 4 difficulty, and determined to see what his limits are, he takes out the monsters. In no time, he moves over to the 5th difficulty, and gradually, he makes his way up to the 9th round. When he got to the examiner was astounded, and he suggested that Han stop, but Han refused, saying he would like to challenge the 10th level. The examiner screams at him, asking him if he is crazy, because since the assessment started, no one has ever succeeded in challenging difficulty level 10. The students are also convinced that Han doesn't have the strength to take on a level 10 difficulty, since he just awakened. Level 10 is the final level, and this will feature a genuine 3rd rank beast, which might lead to his death if he insists that he wants to continue. Even Wei and his colleagues only challenged the assessment system up to level 9 back in their day. Even at the time, it was a new record in 100 years. Lin is already imagining Han in his district, but Wei is ready to beat up anyone who wants to pry Han away from him. It turns out that Lin has finally seen how talented Han is, and he is prepared to fight Wei for Han's signature. In the arena, the examiner tells Han that he won't stop him if he thinks he can still challenge the 10th level, but he assures him that he won't be able to win in his current state. Han then sits down, telling the examiner to give him some time to recover before starting again. The examiner immediately informs him that, following the rules, he has no more than 5 minutes to rest, but Han cuts in, saying he only needs the time of a song. He begins playing a tune, and it immediately activates a rapid recovery that unleashes healing magic. The spectators don't believe what they are looking at because Han is basically recovering his lost energy, which means the spirit he contracted with is an all-rounder spirit. This is when they finally understand that the spirit contracted is pretty terrifying. Behind the scenes, Lin and Wei are ready to tear down the whole building to find out who is going to grab Han. The two are in the midst of their showdown when the head of District 5, Liu Jingchun, expresses his interest in Han too. He argues that the death rate of spirit contractors on the battlefield will drop by at least 30% if Han comes to his district, but the two yell at him at the same time, telling him that there is no way this is possible. Their master is forced to come in again to calm the situation. He explains that the 8 major districts all have their own responsibilities. Basically, the 1st district excels in decisive battles, the 2nd district excels in strategy, the 3rd district expands territories, the 4th district explores and seeks truth, the 5th district saves lives, the 6th district guards key passes, the 7th district traverses the oceans, and the 8th district remains behind the scenes. The old man explains that the 8 districts are basically the pillars that hold Daxia in place. The old man confesses that he has always wanted to form a 9th district, but he never truly took the step. The moment his disciples hear this, it dawns on them that their master is already considering forming a 9th district with Han as the head, but the big question is if Han is up to the task. For Han's final assessment test, which is the level 10 difficulty, he is going to be facing off against a 3rd level Zerg Red Flame Beast. The examiner tells Han that from the 10th level he is considered to have passed the test if he is able to survive the beast's attack for 3 minutes. The Zerg unleashes a massive heat wave from his body that almost roasts the spectators themselves to show how powerful he is. When the heat wave subsides, the spectators are surprised to see Han standing without moving an inch. They expect Han to be running away by now because the Zerg is no beast that should be played with. Han turns to Yu Wei, asking her if she is ready for the battle, and she assures him that she is going to support him no matter what decision he makes. Han then makes his move, lunging toward the beast with an overwhelming aura, declaring that he is not just there to survive. His advance is immediately repelled by the beast's fireball attack. Han leaps backward to avoid getting roasted by the crazy beast. Han then calms down, and he starts playing a tune to unleash a wind attack. A strong wind immediately comes forth, shaking the entire arena so that even the spectators almost lose their clothing. Han attacks the beast with the overwhelming power of the wind, and it tears him apart. Everyone watches in shock as the Zerg turns to dust right before their very eyes. They don't want to believe that Han actually passed the test, because he just set a record that might never be broken again. Lumao and Mei almost die from anger because what is happening is the least thing they expect to see. Mei is pissed that Han ended up stealing the spotlight from them. In the arena, Han might have passed, but because he pushed himself too hard, he passed out. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself in the test space, and standing in front of him is Lin. Before Han starts freaking out, he introduces himself, telling him that he is there to ask him a few questions. Han demands to know what questions he wants to ask, and Lin asks him which side he thinks will win between humanity and the Zerg. Han replies that the Zerg might win, but at the same time, humanity is not going to lose. Lin is impressed by his answer, and he asks him that, as a contract master that he wants to know what he is fighting for. Han replies that he is fighting to prevent the Zerg from ravaging their homeland, so people can live in peace and prosperity. He adds that he wants the flag of Daxia to stand all over their land to restore their glory to the old days. After hearing this, the old master appears on the scene, clapping for Han. He wastes no time asking Han to become his disciple, and Lin introduces his master as Li Shutong. Han is shocked when he hears this because he knows the Li family, since they are the most powerful family in Daxia. Apparently, 100 years ago, the 3 major Zerg emperors decided to join forces in an attempt to wipe out Daxia, and they almost succeeded, but in that moment, Shutong single-handedly fought the 3 Zerg emperors, killing them and saving Daxia. Just remembering this, Han becomes even more interested in becoming the old man's disciple, asking him if he really can become his disciple. Shutong assures him that he can if he is willing to do so, and Han bows in front of him, offering his greetings to his new master. Shutong commends him, telling him that he suits his taste more than the others. He pats Han on the shoulder, telling him that he doesn't have much to give him since it is their first meeting. However, he is going to give him a ring that is made from the bones of a 9th stage Zerg emperor that he killed back in the day. Shutong reveals that it contains a storage space, and Han is totally blown away by this. Just by staring at the ring, he can see that it contains an overwhelming aura. This leaves him wondering just how powerful the 9th stage emperor was before its death because just its bones alone command so much power. Shutong tells Han that the ring can intimidate lower-level Zerg, but against stronger Zerg they will become more aggressive. Shutong tells him that he can choose not to wear it regularly if he is worried. Han assures Shutong that he is always going to wear it because it is a token from his master. Shutong laughs out loud when he hears this, telling the others that he likes Han's spirit. He uses the opportunity to dunk on the other disciples, saying they are cowards, which is why they are too scared to wear the ring when he offers them. Shutong suggests that they move past trivial talks, and he tells Han that he is pretty sure that he and Yu Wei are drained already after just completing the assessment. Shutong admits that he is in a good mood that day, so he is willing to take them out for a big meal. Moments later, they arrive at a restaurant called Deep Blue Hot Pot. When they settle down, Shutong tells Han that his seniors will be joining them very soon because he invited them too. Not long after this, they start arriving and they introduce themselves to Han, starting from Lin down to Lu. Han stands up, and he offers his humble greetings to his seniors, but they let him know that he doesn't need to be so formal because they are a family. Ye tells Han that not all of them were able to make it, revealing that the 6th brother is currently guarding the border and cannot leave. The 7th brother is also overseas, so he might not be able to meet him in the meantime. They are about to talk about the 8th brother when the devil himself shows up in the room. Surprisingly, the dude only drops his contact card for Han, telling him to contact him if he ever needs help, but tells him that he only has one chance. Han is left stunned, and he mentions that the 8th brother has a really weird personality. Lin brings out gifts that were sent from the others, telling Han that they are martial arts techniques, battle robes, and other useful items. They are having a good time until a fat, ugly lady rushes into the room, causing a ruckus. It turns out that the ugly lady is Yue's aunt, and she screams at Yue, accusing her of sneaking out to have a good time when she was always eating at her place before she awakened. Yue tries to tell the lady that it is not what she thinks, but she stretches her hand toward Yue, ready to slap her across the face for talking back at her. However, Han grabs her arm and the lady immediately recognizes Han as the dude who formed a contract with Yue. She speaks rudely to Han, saying he tricked Yue into forming a contract with him. Han coldly asks her what she wants, and she starts yapping, talking about how she is the one who raised Yue all these years, so she deserves some sort of compensation. Yue immediately screams at the woman, telling her to hold back her shenanigans. The lady then tells Yue that she should not think she is some sort of big shot because she passed the assessment test. The lady starts boasting, telling Yue that her uncle is from the 4th district, and if she continues shouting at her, she is going to contact him to make sure that Yue doesn't stay in the spirit contract master's circle. Shen hears this and tries to talk to the lady, but she shushes him. She then turns to Shutong, asking him if he is Han's grandpa, calling him an old geezer. She then tells Shutong that if they want Yue, they are going to give her gold, a dowry, a house, and a car, with everything being in her name. She mentions that they have relatives in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th battle zones, and if they don't give her what she wants, they are going to regret it. Shutong smashes his hand on the table, berating his disciples for waiting around to hear the fatso insult him. He orders them to call their respective districts, and the group immediately grabs their phones to reach out. The lady assumes that they are calling for guards or something, and she adds that she has plenty of connections. Just then, her phone rings, and when she picks up the call, it turns out to be her uncle. Before she can even say anything, the man yells at her on the phone, asking her if she is trying to get them all killed. The dude tells her never to reach out to her again, saying they are done. While the man is busy shouting at her on the phone, Shutong is making fun of her for believing that she has connections. Before he drops the call, he urges her not to mess with Han and Yue if she values her little life. The woman smashes and drops her phone in shock, wondering what just hit her, and the restaurant's assistants show up to tell the woman not to cause trouble. She tries to shift the blame to Shutong and the others, saying they were the ones bullying her. Seeing that she is not going to cooperate, they are forced to drag her out of the restaurant. Yue bows to Shutong, offering her deepest apology, saying she is the cause of everything that happened. However, Shutong tells her not to blame herself because all of this is happening because she's lost her parents. Shutong then tells her that from that moment forward, she and Han have become his family, just like their seniors. In fact, he lets her know that she doesn't need to go back to her aunt's house, telling her that she can stay at his house. With tears in her eyes, she thanks the old man for the gesture, and Shutong urges the two to eat to their fill. He starts talking about how dishes are prepared, and Han uses the opportunity to ask him where he belongs. He tells him that everyone has their own path, and he can't predict his path. As they continue eating, Han asks Shutong why the senior brothers' wives haven't joined them yet. Just then, Lin asks him if he and Yue have gotten intimate, but he lets him know that they have not done anything like that. Lin explains that after getting intimate, a spirit master can gain a certain degree of replication ability, and even though the ability is weaker, it is pretty useful. He explains that spirit companions have two forms, material form and human form. The material form is when Yue turns into the musical instrument, and her human form is when she is normal. Apparently, the senior wives are currently in their human forms, holding down the positions for their husbands who are not around. Han is shocked to find out that spirit masters and spirit companions can fight as one or separately, and Yue cuts in, telling him that they have to get intimate first. Lin then asks Han if Yue is truly an E-rank spirit, and Han says yes, but reveals that he has a special ability that awakened her divinity. After this, she was able to become an SSS-Rank spirit. When the brothers hear this, they are totally blown away, because this is the first time they have heard of such an ability. Han says they shouldn't think he randomly chose his spirit companion, but he is not foolish enough to have done that. Because of his talent, he lets them know that he would not hold back on merging with a spirit companion with divinity, even if their rank is low. Han knows that besides the Fuqichin, there are still 9 other artifacts among the top 10 ancient divine artifacts. Shutong then tells Han not to tell anyone else, aside from them, about what he can do. He proceeds to tell Lin to set Han and Yue's information to the highest level of confidentiality to make sure no one can access it. After this, the brothers give Shutong reports on how they are doing in their districts, and he commends them, telling them that they have done well. The group ends up toasting to the success of the country before ending the night out. Later that night, Shutong leads Yue and Han to his house, which is where they are going to be staying. Upon entering the massive house, the two are completely overwhelmed, and Han says he never expected Shutong to have a house in Deep Blue City. Shutong reveals that the city is his wife's hometown, and Han immediately asks him about his wife. Shutong's mood goes down when he hears this, and he reveals that his wife died in battle. He mentions that everyone only remembers him for turning the tide of war, but no one remembers his wife. Shutong admits that he is nothing without her, and seeing the sincerity and emotion in his voice, the two become sad. Han apologizes for bringing up his wife, thus making him sad. Shutong then tells Han to be good to Yue because she is his other half and not just a tool. Han thanks Shutong for the advice, promising that he is going to take good care of Yue. He then asks Shutong to tell him his wife's name, assuring him that as long as one person remembers, she will never be forgotten by the world. Shutong commends Han, saying he is totally different from the others and he likes this. He then proceeds to tell him that his wife's name is Ling Mei. Apparently, in the battle against the Zerg emperors, he only killed one, but his wife was the one who fought to her last breath to kill the other two. Shutong says she would have received the honor of saving the country if she were still alive rather than him. Shutong then urges them to find a room to rest because it is already getting late. Later on, Shutong heads out to stare at the moon with the picture of his wife beside him. Han and Yue soon show up, telling him that they are willing to accompany him now that no one is around to do so. Shutong is impressed by this, and he tells Han that seeing him reminds him, and Yue together reminds him of his wife. He unleashes his aura, telling Han that he is going to need strength if he wants to protect those that he loves. Because of this, he lets Han know that he is going to teach him the martial art that he is most skilled in. Shutong takes in a deep breath before throwing a punch that cuts down the tree in front of him. He reveals that what he just displayed is the martial art called the 8 Locks Fist. He reveals that it has 8 locks corresponding to 8 hidden points in the human body. Once the 8 locks are unlocked, one is going to surpass their limits. Just then, Han displays what Shutong just did, leaving the old man in complete shock. Shutong doesn't want to believe his eyes because this took Wei 6 months to learn, and Han just did after looking at it once. Han confidently reveals that he found the position of the locks by instinct. Since Han is proving to be a genius, Shutong doesn't hesitate to punch him to the ground. Han falls to the ground in pain, and it turns out Shutong intentionally did this because he is looking to suppress his arrogance, even though he is a genius. Shutong heaves in relief, saying it feels good to teach geniuses a good lesson. Shutong doesn't let Han go, as he continues pounding him in the name of training him. Before Han knows it, his head has swollen up as if he had been attacked by a swarm of bees. The next day at the academy, Yue asks Han if his face still hurts, and he replies that it has stopped hurting. He actually doesn't mind because he knows that his master is just playing around with him. The two are minding their business until Lumao decides to challenge Han. He and his lackey start talking trash about him, and Yue is confused about the whole situation, but Han urges her not to worry herself because Lumao and his guys are just a bunch of arrogant flies. Han and Yue then head to the principal's office, where they learn that some sort of bad news is waiting for them. The principal tells the two that, according to orders from above, they have been assigned to the city of Deep Blue to join the Guardian organization to handle frontline tasks from the bottom. The principal shows them the notice, telling them that they have to report immediately. Han is surprised when he hears that they have been deployed to the front lines. The principal sighs in disappointment, saying the decision might be a waste of his talent, but there is nothing he can do because it came from above. However, Han lets him know that he doesn't need to beat himself up about it because he accepts the decision. Han believes that this is the path that his master is telling him that he has to walk by himself. After leaving the principal's office, Lumao continues with his annoying remarks. Han is no longer impressed by his trash remarks, and Lumao notices his reaction. Lumao threatens to beat Han up, telling him that he and Mei had fun together, so he is stronger than he was the day before. Han runs toward him, and the two end up punching each other. This leaves a wave that runs through the room, but when everything settles in, the nerves in Lumao's hand have been crushed. He holds out his hand in pain, screaming for his mummy, but Han doesn't stop there. He punches him in the face, sending him to the ground with some of his teeth missing from his ugly mouth. Han then grabs his companion, telling her that it is time for them to leave, letting her know that the dude actually deserved what he got. Yue asks him where they are going, and he tells her that they are going to report to their next station. Soon afterward, they arrive at the Guardian station and they walk to the counter to the attendant. The dude assumes that they are customers, and he tells them to wait in line. But Han lets the dude know that they are there to join the organization. The dude immediately puts his game aside when he hears this. He looks up, and after a closer look, he realizes who the two are. He laughs out, mocking them, saying who has already ordered that they make life difficult for them. The dude then checks his computer, and he lets them know that they have been assigned to Team 0527 with Han as the team leader. In the Guardian organization, each city has a first team responsible for overseeing the other Guardians. Other Guardians are numbered according to their jurisdiction, belonging to different teams. The dude tells Han and Yue where they need to head, and upon entering the office of Team 0527, they find it totally upside down. There is a woman and a man there, and the lady rudely asks Han what he wants. Han then introduces himself, revealing that he is the team's new captain. The man lying on the couch laughs out when he hears this, telling Han that he is still a kid who doesn't deserve to be a leader. The dude taunts Han, telling him to go play with some toys, and Yue scolds him, asking him why he would say something like that. Han is totally disappointed that such a trashy dude is a member of the organization, which shows the state in which Team 0527 currently is. The dude stands up and walks up to Yue, saying flirty things to her while asking if she is interested in becoming his contract spirit. This pisses Han off, and he punches the dude so hard that he is sent flying with blood spilling from his filthy mouth. Even though he just got knocked to the ground, the dude, Ifan, just picks up his wine bottle to start another round of drunkenness. The girl, Hong Yingwei, then tells Ifan to attend to their new leader because she wants to go inside to rest. Ifan tells Ying to give him some money for a drink, but she slams the door in his face while screaming out, saying she has no money. Ifan then uses the opportunity to tell Han that the team is so broke that they can't even afford to buy alcohol, so it would be bad for him if he stays. Han then tells Ifan that as long as he is there, the downfall is just temporary. Ifan walks over to his computer while making fun of Han, telling him that he is overestimating himself. Ifan tells him to check the rankings, revealing that they are dead last in the Guardian teams of the city when it comes to points. Ifan says they have just 2 months left for the year to end, and at the end of the year, the organization will conduct a round of layoffs for the teams. Those who are laid off will then be sent to the lower district. Ifan says that with their current points, it is pretty obvious that they are going to be relegated. Ifan continues by revealing that the lower district is the worst of the worst. He suggests that Han leave if he doesn't want to die in the lower district. Ifan throws his drink bottle at Han to show him just how serious he is. Seeing this, Han realizes that Hu is trying everything in his power to send him to the lower district, but it is his job to make sure that he doesn't succeed. Yue tells Han that it would be better for them to leave because Ifan looks like a lost cause. Han tells his companion that it is not right to run away from problems because it would only make one become a coward, and only by overcoming them would one become stronger. In addition, joining another team wouldn't stop Hu from coming after him. Han believes that it is better for them to stick around and turn the team into the best team in the city, so that they can ruin Hu's plan. Han then makes his way into the inner room where Ying is sitting. Ying coldly tells Han to leave, saying he is not welcome, but Han asks her if she is really willing to sit out and wait for death. Han then shocks her by calling her real name, Bai Shuang. Bai immediately flares up in anger and shock, demanding to know how Han was able to see through her lies. It turns out that Han was able to figure this out thanks to his skill, and he can see everything Bai is hiding. Han then tells Bai that since he has introduced himself, he believes that it would be nice if he showed a small demonstration of his abilities. Deep down, Han knows that Bai still wants the team to work even though she is acting all tough. Bai then tells Han to give up if he thinks he can blackmail her with the information he has. Han then stretches his hands toward her, suggesting that she join him in completing some tasks because he is pretty sure that she doesn't want to get sent to the lower district, even though it appears that Ifan is already headed that way. Han assures her that she is going to get half of the task rewards, and she just has to cooperate to see that he is not bluffing. Bai shakes Han's hands, and she agrees to his deal because he can see through her lies, which means Han is no regular dude. Han then tells Bai that she is in charge of gathering the tasks, promising that he will handle them. Bai then reveals that there are 3 tasks that seem suitable for their team at the moment, and he is free to take a closer look. She shows him the tasks on her tablet, and when Han checks them out, he realizes that they are tasks with low points. He tells Bai that they need tasks that will give them high points so that they can quickly overtake the others. Han then picks a task that requires them to clear out the Zerg in the city's tower. The recommended number of people for this task is 6 to 8 people. Bai immediately believes that he has gone crazy because this is a task that is recommended for at least 2 teams. Han tells the lady that these are the type of tasks that will earn them points, and he accepts the task before Bai can do anything about it. Bai tells him that they are screwed if they fail because they are going to lose 10% of the task's reward points as a penalty. However, Han tells her that she doesn't have to worry because he is going to handle it. Bai hesitantly agrees because she already promised to work with him, but she is ready to collect Han's body if the mission fails. Meanwhile, the team that was supposed to take the sewer task is informed that the task has been taken, and they freak out because it is a 300-point task. The team decides to stake out the sewer to know who it is that was brave enough to have stolen their task. Moments later, Han and his team make their way into the sewer, and Bai urges them to be careful because there is a risk that they will encounter a second-tier Zerg. Han then communicates with Yue with facial expressions. Once the two are on the same page, they dash deeper into the sewers, telling Bai to wait for them. Bai screams at them to be careful because there are dangerous Zerg inside the sewer. Not long after this, Bai feels a sudden and strange wave come from inside the sewer. She immediately assumes that things have gone south. She dashes toward the two's direction with the fear that something has happened to them. By the time she gets into the sewer, she is stunned to see that Han has killed all the monsters. Han confidently tells her that she has nothing to worry about because it is all done. Since the task went pretty smoothly, Han tells Bai to collect the valuable materials from the Zerg corpses because they are definitely going to fetch a good profit. Han then points to the guy on the ground, saying he is probably the missing city guardian, but it is unfortunate that he is already dead, so she can just take him along too. Bai is too stunned to speak because she can't understand who the hell Han is for him to have been able to defeat such terrifying second-tier Zerg like it was nothing. 1 hour after this, the team that wanted to initially take the task arrived in the sewers, and they were left in shock when they realized that everything had been taken care of. One of the team members says he just observed that the monsters were wiped out in one strike. This leaves the team wondering what sort of monster was able to complete the task before them. Not long after this, Hu receives a report that Han's team has completed 2 tasks, which has taken their points to 350. Hu screams at the dude, reminding him that he ordered him to mess with Han. The dude apologizes for his incompetence, and with anger oozing out of his body, Hu renews his determination to mess with Han. Hu then orders the dude, BEI, telling him to tell the other teams to take up all the tasks in Deep Blue City to make sure that there are no tasks left. That night during dinner, Shutong asks Han if he needs help with Hu, but Han says no. Han talks about how the Guardians have not been protecting the city, even though it is their job to do so. Han says he is more concerned about issues in the organizations, and Shutong mentions that while he was busy dealing with the Zergs, the association was getting rotten from the bottom up. Shutong mentions that he needs the association to be purged from its roots, which is why he chose Han in the first place. Since Shutong has given him the go-ahead to make things right, Han agrees to do this. Han then tells his master that he hasn't been able to break through the 8th level of the 8 quick fist technique and he wants pointers. Shutong then tells him that he must remember the 4 words, between life and death, if he wants to break through. The words immediately stick to Han's brain as he starts thinking of a way out. Later that night, Han was about to sleep when Yue Wei showed up in his room asking to sleep with him. Han is surprised, and he asks Yue Wei why she wants to sleep in his room when there are loads of other rooms in the house. Yue Wei mentions that Shutong has already locked the other rooms, and Han agrees that she sleeps in the room. He offers to sleep on the floor, but Yue Wei refuses, telling him that he must sleep in the bed. Even though Han feels like it is weird, the two end up sleeping on the same bed. The next morning, Han wakes up hyper, suggesting that they find some new tasks for the day. When they return to the team office, they are welcomed by a well-behaved Ifan and Bai. It turns out that the two have read about Han and have figured out that he is the SSS-Rank genius of Qingteng Academy. Bai bows to Han to apologize for how she behaved to him initially, but Han urges her to remove all formalities because they are teammates. Bai then tells Han that she is worried that he is going to be a waste among them, and she is even surprised that the higher-ups sent him to such a trash place. Han replies that mediocre people are shaped by their environment, but it is his task to change that environment. Ifan then tells Han that he won't be able to easily get out of the mess because Hu is a menace. Ifan tells Han that Hu would do everything in his power to make sure he exiles Han to the lower city. Bai then tells Han that, for some reason, all the tasks in the city have been taken out, leaving not even a single one. Bai asks Han what they plan to do because it appears that they are already making progress. Since it is only the tasks in Deep Blue City that were taken out, Han suggests that they change their permanent base to Kanghai City. Han did this, and after refreshing the task list, they are able to see that there are tasks that they can take on. Bai tells him that to take tasks out of the city, it means they will have to travel and the roads are filled with the Zergs. Soon afterward, the team gets in a truck to head for Kanghai City. On their way, Yue sees something strange in the distance, and she asks what it is. Han tells her that it is a first-tier Zerg called a dead ashfly. It is a species that operates in swarms, and the larger the swarm, the more destructive and lethal it becomes. Ifan, who was lying down in the back of the truck, finally gets up to watch, and he freaks out when he sees a swarm of flies in the distance. The swarm is so large that it appears like a tornado, and Han mentions that the destruction from the swarm would be disastrous. Ifan suggests that they go after the flies, but Bai asks Han what he wants to do. Han takes a closer look and he realizes that the swarm seems to be after a convoy. Bai asks if they should go after the convoy to save them, and Han agrees to this. He tells Bai to head toward the convoy at full throttle, and Bai immediately turns the car to the right, while Ifan celebrates like he just won the lottery. Ifan even hits his head during the whole thing, but he doesn't care. Sitting in the convoy is an apparent important lady, Sheng Sitting. Seeing how things have turned out, her guards are ready to sacrifice themselves to save their lady from the incoming swarm because there is no way reinforcements would make it in time. The squad leader informs the other guards via the walkie-talkie, telling them to prepare to sacrifice themselves. Sighting grabs the phone from him, telling the guards that they are not allowed to give up until the last moment. However, the guards let her know that it is their duty to protect her. The guards bring out their firepower to unleash on the annoying monsters chasing them down. The rear vehicle soon gets caught in the storm, and the vehicle is flung into the air. Sighting is devastated when she sees this, but the butler tells her that she doesn't need to be sad because it is their honor to protect her. Suddenly, they hear a weird sound in the distance, and when they look outside the window, they see Han cutting down the swarm with musical tunes. Sighting is left stunned when she sees this, and in no time the storm is already dispersed. The butler is left speechless because they didn't know where someone as powerful as Han could have come from. The last of the swarm angrily unleashes stingers toward Han's truck. Surprisingly, Ifan jumps up to tank the attack. His body gets riddled with stingers, and he crashes into the back of the truck. Instead of crying, he is laughing like a maniac, talking about how nice the whole thing is. Han starts pulling out the stingers, saying Ifan might die within seconds if they are not removed. Just then, Han notices that the stingers are being pushed out. Han is confused and surprised when he sees this, prompting him to use his skill to check out Ifan's traits. Han is shocked when he realizes that Ifan has an immortality trait. However, he doesn't know what the trait means or how it even works. Ifan notices the curiosity on Han's face, and he tells him to beg him, promising to tell him if he does. However, Han's ego won't let him do that, and he turns away, telling Ifan that he doesn't care. After traveling for a while, they arrive at the first task location, where they find a bunch of flying zergs. Yu Wei transforms, and Han unleashes horror on the insects, cutting down a whole swarm of beasts with just one strike. Ifan is left in total shock because Han just one-shotted a bunch of monsters, like it's nothing. Even Bai cannot believe her eyes because Han wouldn't stop exceeding her expectations. After this, Han and his team start cutting through numerous tasks, and when the teams back home see this, they are left in shock. They believe that it is a totally different team, but it soon dawns on them that it is Team 0527 from Deep Blue City. The teams in Kanghai lash out in anger, saying Han and his team are there to humiliate them. The teams immediately swing into action to grab whatever tasks are available to them. The teams set out in anger, aiming to finish tasks before Han and his team, whom they now call task bullies, steal everything from them. At some point, they decide to take on some of the difficult tasks, but by the time they get there, Han has already cleared out the monsters. The team leader then orders his driver to turn around to find Han and his team wherever they are because he would like to teach them a big lesson. However, one of the team members grabbed his captain, telling him that they had already left the city after submitting their tasks. Apparently, someone saw their truck leave the city moments earlier, and it appears that the dude is right because Han and his people have vanished already. Later on, the third in command at the Guardian Association, Su Mingxuan, notices that the completion rate in the city and nearby cities has suddenly shot up. His assistant tells him that a team of task bullies suddenly appears in the city, and they specialize in stealing tasks from other cities, which has triggered a chain reaction. Su immediately tells his assistant to retrieve the team's file for him because he would like to see who the task bullies are. Moments later, the dude shows up with the files, and Su tells him to step back as he prepares to open the files. The moment he opens the file, the first names he comes across are Ifan and Bai. He is surprised when he realizes that both files are top secret, which is really unusual. He doesn't expect the third file, which is Han's file, to be top secret too. However, he is hit with a surprise when he realizes that Han's file basically has his name and the name of his academy only, with nothing else on it. Su is about to conclude that it was a mistake when he gets a call from Lin. Even this alone leaves him worried because he doesn't know why he would be getting a call from such a big shot. He is still offering his greetings when Lin goes straight to the point, telling him to stop investigating the files he requested because they exceed his clearance level. Su agrees to back off, but after the call, he is left even more baffled about who Han might be that Lin had to call him personally. Meanwhile, Han is still out there completing tasks with his teammates. Upon completing the 18th task, Han tells his team to check how many points they currently have because with the number of tasks they have completed, they should already be ranked first. Bai checks the points and tells Han that they currently have 1,800 points, but even with this, they are still ranked last. The entire team is shocked to hear this because it should be completely impossible. Yue asks if there is someone else completing tasks faster than they are, but Bai believes that Hu is the one causing them trouble again. Han then checks out the rankings and realizes that the second-to-last team all have 2,300 points, which is just slightly higher than theirs. This points out the fact that something is wrong somewhere because there is no way over a dozen teams all have SS-Rank level talents. Han tells his team that what they are currently witnessing is score manipulation, and it appears that all the teams have agreed to tie at a specific score. After they have completed their tasks, the points are distributed to a single person. Basically, there are no rules being violated this way since the points were earned collectively. Bai crashes out in anger, saying they have been set up from the very beginning. Han then tells his team that they have nothing to worry about because the points are close, which means that they have a chance to surpass the teams above them. He suggests that they return to Deep Blue City first, and the team agrees with him. When they arrive home, Shutong asks Han about his mission, and he reveals that things went well, but at the same time they didn't get their desired results. However, Han is pleased that they were able to rescue a merchant caravan during one of their missions, so everything is not a waste. Shutong is surprised to hear this because he already heard from Sitting that she was saved by an insensitive dude, which means she was talking about Han. Apparently, she has been disturbing Shutong since then, asking how she can awaken so she can become a powerful contract spirit master. Han is surprised to hear that the old man knows Sighting. Shutong explains that Sighting's grandfather is an old friend of his, and the Shang family is also one of the 5 major corporations just behind Kanshang Technology. Basically, they develop high-end weapons for contract spirit masters without spirits and for regular people. Shutong says he sees Sighting as his own granddaughter, and Han is shocked to learn that Sighting is quite important. Shutong reveals that the Shang family has been setting things up to create a challenge for Sighting, hoping that she would back out, but Han appeared out of nowhere to thwart their plan. Han is saddened to hear this, wondering if he had accidentally messed with good intentions. However, Shutong tells him that it is fine because the caravan was transporting goods that were meant for him in the first place. These are items that he wants to give to Han. Shutong opens the box to reveal 2 elixirs. One is purple, and the other one is green. Han asks what they are for, and Shutong mentions that they are elixirs that will help him break through to the next stage. Han admits that he has heard that the elixirs can enhance strength, speed, reaction, and defense, but has always wondered if it's true. Instead of wondering, Shutong tells the 2 to go for it. Han grabs the purple one while Yue Wei takes the green one. The moment Han ingests it, he feels an immense energy burn through his body, and he admits that the elixir is quite powerful. Yue Wei also gets overwhelmed with new symbols, adding to her already deadly arsenal. Han unlocks other amazing offensive skills too, and when everything finally settles down, Han tells Shutong that the elixir is quite powerful because it made him level up and also helped Yue Wei gain more techniques. Shutong commends the 2, telling them that their performance didn't disappoint him. Just then, Han's phone rings, and when he checks it, he realizes that it is a call from Bai. Bai tells him to quickly check the city task list because a new task just popped up. It turns out to be a red alert because wanderers have been spotted near the city. They are offering 1,000 points for the task, and it is basically open to everyone. Seeing that the wanderers are tier 3, Bai is worried about taking the mission because a fully grown wanderer is as dangerous as 3 tier 3 masters. Han then tells her that they are going to discuss everything in person. Han and Yue Wei dash off, telling Shutong that they have a mission. Shutong can only watch as they leave, concluding that he has finally become an oldie. After their departure, Afu shows up, telling Shutong that they have found Ling Xen, but she insists that she doesn't want to come back. Shutong asks for her location, and Afu reveals that she is currently in Kanghai City. Later on, Han regroups with the rest of the team, and Bai asks him if they are going on the mission or not. Han replies that they are going because there is no way in hell that they are going to pass out on a mission that would give them the chance to surpass others in points. Bai lets him know that wanderers are a dangerous type of Zerg because they don't even stand a chance against a juvenile. Han then reminds Bai that the mission being a red alert means that if they fail to take down the wanderer when it is still young, it could wipe out the entirety of the city once it matures. Han tells her that they are a guardian team, so they fight to protect humanity, not to gather points. Ifan hears this and teases his captain, telling him that he is the most noble. Bai finally agrees to take them to the mission site since they are hyped up about the mission. At the mission site, there is another team that is standing on a rooftop, monitoring the whole area. The affected area has a veil over it, and the team leader explains to his team members that the black veil they are looking at can isolate all perception, thus distinguishing itself from the outside world to create its own realm. Anything affected by the veil will suffer an acceleration in aging and decay, ultimately leading to destruction. One of the team members then asks the captain why the higher-ups are still sending out the mission when they are already on site. He wants to know if this means that they don't trust them. The team leader explains that the Wanderer is very powerful and requires a large number of decoys to draw fire. Upon hearing this, the team finally understands the higher-ups' reason for doing what they did. The team leader tells his team to chill out and let the first batch of cannon fodder go into the veil. He uses binoculars to look into the distance, and he lets out an evil smile when he notices that Han's team is preparing to engage the veil. Han urges the team to be careful because of the Wanderer's black veil. Bai asks him if he is sure about going in because once they do, there is no coming back from it. Ifan boasts that the veil has no effect on him, but Han assures his team that they are all going to be fine. Han is the first to enter and his comrades follow him. The moment they step into the veil, they are hit with a strong presence that indicates that insectoids are active in the area. Han urges his team to be careful, and Yue tells him that she has a strong feeling that they are being watched by a strong pair of unseen eyes. Suddenly, they hear a strange noise in the distance, and with this comes a feeling like their life is being drained out of them. Bai explains that the veil has a capability called life deprivation, which means that as long as they are inside the veil, their energy will be slowly drained until they die. Ifan mentions that all they have is about 30 minutes, and if they can't break the black veil from the inside during this time, they are going to become food for the Wanderer. Bai asks him if he is talking about the black sphere in the distance, and Ifan confirms this. Han stares at it and concludes that what they need to do is to destroy the black sphere. Just then, something weird appears underneath them, and Bai is swallowed up by a giant squishy wall. Han explains that the Wanderer doesn't only cause life deprivation, but has another skill called life bestowal. Han explains that things that are given life are not limited to humans, but also weapons and even the ground. Since this is the case, Yue transforms and tells Han that it is time for them to break everything open. Han starts to unleash his destructive power on the squishy wall, but after so much effort, the wall remains sturdy as if it cannot be pushed down at all. Before they know it, the wall starts to form a square around them, and Han realizes that they are screwed because the Wanderer is actively trying to trap them. Suddenly, a weird bug appears behind Han and almost gets into his body, but he manages to evade. Han panics when he recognizes the bug, and Yue asks him what has gotten him so worked up about the bug. On the outside, the team that was first to arrive believes that they have what it takes to complete the mission, no matter what happens. In fact, they are sure that they would be able to retreat if things don't go as planned. However, everything goes south fast, as they find themselves enveloped in a cloud. They panic because none of them understands the strange phenomenon that is happening. When the cloud starts to dissipate, one of the team members taps his captain on the shoulder, but the captain suddenly grabs him like he is the enemy. It turns out that the weird bug that Han saw earlier has gotten hold of the captain. Another bug manages to take control of the poor team member too. Back inside, it turns out that Ifan has been able to rescue Bai from the deadly wall. Bai asks Ifan if he is not worried about what can happen, and Ifan tells her that he is not. Bai lets him know that she is jealous of the skill that lets him act recklessly without being able to die. However, Ifan lets her know that it is not a gift, but a curse, because being unable to die is a different kind of punishment. Ifan then tells Bai casually that they might as well give up since they can't leave. Bai is surprised to hear this, and she asks him who said they can't leave. Ifan is confused, and he demands to know if she has a way out. Bai then taps the wall and unleashes her skill, which immediately dissolves the wall. Ifan celebrates this because it basically means that they have a chance. With their side of the wall down, they see Han on the outside, and Bai calls out his name. Han takes down the wall in front of him and is able to reunite with his teammates. Bai excitedly tells Han that she just used her skill to dissolve the maze. She is still revealing this impressive news when a giant golem hand appears from behind, targeting Bai and Ifan. Han screams at them to warn them, but it is too late for the two to move. Just as they are about to be crushed, Han's skill comes in clutch to cut down the arm. Han jumps in front of the two and tells them to stay behind him. Fear grips them when they see a giant golem standing in front of them, and as the golem prepares to engage them, Han puts up his defense. Han is able to block the golem's attack, but this leaves a shockwave that sends Bai and Ifan flying. Han tells them that the monsters they are engaging are being summoned by the Wanderer, which means it is imperative that they destroy the Wanderer's body as soon as possible. Han realizes that the Wanderer merged with the Dark World the moment it released the Black Veil, which is why there is only a black sphere left. Han figures out that by destroying the black sphere, they can take down the Wanderer. Bai and Ifan then tell Han to do what needs to be done, assuring him that they are going to back him up. The golem dashes toward the two, and Ifan immediately unleashes his immortality skill to block the golem's punch. However, he lets Han know that his immortality can only take 6 hits, so he has to find a solution before the 6 hits are expended. Han then shifts his attention to the sphere, and he begins putting together a power tune that should take down the sphere once. The tune is so powerful that it gathers a lot of energy in the surroundings that almost tears Ifan apart. Han finally unleashes the attack on the sphere and it breaks through, shattering it to dust. Ifan watches in admiration, declaring victory, but Han suddenly tells him to run. He turns around to see Han bleeding, and he looks worried. Surprisingly, an adult Wanderer has appeared in their presence, and the Wanderer assures them that none of them is escaping. Ifan almost pisses his pants in fear, but Bai appears behind the Wanderer and starts talking weirdly. She tells the two that the adult Wanderer is a special surprise that she brought for them. Bai says she disguised it with lies and kept the Wanderer by her side while waiting for the right moment to release it and deliver the finishing blow. Han is totally confused, and he asks Bai why she is doing this. Bai laughs out evilly before revealing that she just wants to kill Ifan and Han. Tears flow out of her eyes, while her eyeballs give off a weird symbol. Ifan is confused and immediately asks Han what it is that they are staring at. Han then concludes that he is not making a mistake because this is the second time he has seen this. Ifan asks him what he means by this, and he explains that Bai has been parasitized. Ifan is confused by this, and Han explains to him that the symbol they just saw in her pupils is the famous eroding worm. Apparently, the eroding worm is a fourth-tier insect species with a terrifying ability called brain erosion. Any creature that has been invaded by the eroding worm will be completely taken over and fully controlled by the parasite. This is not the only problem because the worm has the ability to reproduce asexually and divide. In the city's history, a 7th-star powerhouse had its brain invaded by the eroding worm, and he slaughtered an entire city that he was protecting, leaving destruction and corpses. It actually took a massive effort and countless resources from the organization to finally take him down, but they still suffered heavy losses. Han believes that these dangerous species were said to have been wiped out 32 years ago by the First District. This leaves him wondering how the parasitic species still remains active. Ifan urges Han to run away, promising to cover him, but Han lets him know that they can't escape because the adult wanderer's black veil has absorbed the newly deceased young wanderer, which means its range has expanded 10 times over. Han assures Ifan that with their current speed, they are going to be killed before they even get the chance to reach the edge of the black veil. However, Han urges Ifan to buy him enough time for just one super song. Han immediately starts to heal himself, and when Bai sees this, she freaks out, telling the wanderer to stop Han. The wanderer fires off an energy blast from its hand, but Ifan's shield deflects the attack. Just then, Bai runs toward Ifan and she taps him on the shoulder to use her power of lies on him. She tells him that his immortality power is fake, but instead of falling for her lies, Ifan headbutts her, telling her that whether his power is fake or not is not for her to decide. As she falls to the ground, the bug emerges from Bai's head and lunges at Ifan. The bug bites Ifan, thus reducing his shield usage to 2 uses. Ifan grabs the bug and angrily squashes it. Since the adult wanderer now knows that his immortality has limited use, it leaps into the air to fire off another energy blast while teasing Ifan, saying it would like to see how long he can last. The energy blast hits again, but Ifan is able to block it just as before. Ifan panics and he asks Han how much longer he needs. However, Han seems to be done already, and he tells Yue and Ifan to handle the eroding worm while he takes care of the adult wanderer. Han then unlocks the 8 quick fists, telling the wanderer that it is quite impressive that it forced him to use his full strength. Han angrily dashes toward the wanderer, aiming to punch it to oblivion. However, the wanderer dodges Han's powerful strike, and it ends up crashing into a wall, destroying it. The wanderer whips out a sword from its mouth, admitting that Han is pretty strong, which he didn't expect. The wanderer swings its sword at Han, releasing a devastating attack that cuts everything in its path. The wanderer wants to see how many of its attacks he will be able to take, but Han blocks the attack with his gauntlet. The wanderer is shocked when it sees the gauntlet on Han's hands because it recognizes the gauntlet as one of the weapons that killed one of their Zerg kings a decade ago. The wanderer tells Han that the gauntlet belongs to the strong, which unfortunately he is not part of. Han lunges toward the wanderer, admitting that he might not be strong, but at the same time the wanderer is no Zerg king either. Han delivers a powerful blow that leaves a shockwave that rocks the area. Han continues throwing punches at the wanderer and some hits, but others he is able to dodge. The wanderer says it can clearly see that whoever gave Han the gauntlet has a good relationship with him, which means if it kills him, the said person would be broken. The wanderer immediately switches to offensive mode, saying the thought of this alone excites him. Han soon slips up and the wanderer pushes its sword into its shoulder before launching him backwards. At this point, Han realizes just how important it is for him to kill the wanderer quickly before it fully absorbs the energy of the young wanderer, because once it does, he won't be able to compete with it again. Han then calms his nerves as he taps into all of his senses, because it appears that he has finally reached the life and death situation his master was talking about. Han then unlocks the second level of the 8 quick fists because he is literally fighting to survive and can't delay any longer. Han dashes toward the wanderer at a blinding speed, and before it can even react, Han lands a destructive punch that shatters the wanderer's body. It turns into tiny bits, and Han confidently declares his victory. However, the wanderer's head replies that Han has it all wrong because he is the one who lost. Han watches in horror as the wanderer starts coming back together. At the same time, Ifan tells Han that Bai is gone, but before he can ask for more information, the wanderer hurls a big rock at them, telling them that no one is going to escape its grasp. Ifan manages to block the rock, but his immortality runs down to 0 and he tells Han that he has to run. Han realizes that Ifan can no longer hold, but suddenly a giant, destructive hand appears above the wanderer to completely destroy it. The team looks up, wondering what just happened, and to their surprise, it turns out that they just got saved by Shutong. Shutong smiles because he made it just in time, and Han heaves a sigh of relief at his master's presence. However, he is already exhausted and he suddenly passes out. Shutong then tells Yifan and Yue to take Han back to the city because there is still some cleanup that he has to do. Yifan is confused as he doesn't know what Shutong means by cleanup, and while they are discussing, the queen bug is seen escaping into the distance. Later on, Han wakes up in a hospital room screaming for his master to be careful, totally oblivious to the fact that he is no longer on the battlefront. Yue is beside him, and she rejoices in the fact that Han is finally awake, but Han is still confused. He asks Yue where he is, and Yue reveals that he is currently in a hospital. Yue explains to him that after he passed out, Shutong started clearing out the bugs, but they were unable to locate the queen, so they just had to bring Han back to recover. Han then asks about Yifan, and Yue sighs before revealing that Yifan is in the ICU. Yue mentions that his bones and meridians were completely shattered because of the boulder he held, and if it weren't for his immortality, he definitely would have died. Even though he is not dead, his injuries are severe, but Yue lets him know that his immortality talent is slowly repairing the damage. Suddenly, a nurse barges into the room to tell them that Yifan is missing. Han is surprised to hear this, and Yue tells Han that their master had ordered them to track down the parasite worms on their own. Since Bai's disappearance is related to the parasite bugs, Yue believes that Yifan must have left to find Bai and the parasite bugs. Han tells Yue that Bai is an important link because the parasite bugs can reproduce asexually, but if they can locate the queen bug to kill it, they can take down the rest of the bugs simultaneously. Han is pretty sure that Yifan figured something out, which is why he left to investigate on his own. Yue then tells Han that there is something else, and this is the fact that the Guardians organization deducted 100 points from their team. Han asked why they did this, and Yue revealed that this was because Shutong was the one who completed the mission. All other teams also had their points deducted because they failed the mission. Han is pissed that they are risking their lives on the battlefield, but the association is pulling such nasty tricks behind their backs. Yue adds that points aren't the only thing they deducted because they also took the Wanderer's corpse without leaving anything behind. It turns out that all the materials were moved back to the Guardians organization building. Han asks if Shutong said anything about this, and Yue says their master mentioned that it is a feud between them and the Guardians, so no one else would interfere. Upon hearing that no one would interfere, Han realizes that their master is secretly telling them that he is backing them up. Han immediately decides that it is time to head to the association building to take back what is theirs. Those at the association are having a good time when Han and Yue barge the door open. Han screams at the top of his voice, demanding that Hu step out. One of Hu's men teases Han, asking him why he is there when he could have given them a heads up. Han tells the dude to tell Hu to step out, and the dude decides to attack Han. However, Han knocks him down with one hand, and he unleashes his aura to show his anger. The others freak out because they can't believe that Han just took down their colleague with one slap. Some also recorded the altercation, threatening to send it to the higher-ups to show them how Han doesn't follow the rules. The dude from earlier gets up again and tries to attack Han with a knife, but Han grabs him like he is nothing. He is busy flinging him around when Hu finally shows up, telling Han to stop what he is doing. Han mocks him, saying he has finally shown his trash face. Hu asks Han what he wants, and Han replies that he wants Hu to apologize to him and his team. But Hu replies that Han is only deceiving himself. Hu then asks his subordinates if they have sent the recorded video to headquarters, and they say yes. In fact, it was sent to Su Mingxuan, who is the vice head of the supervisory department. Hu confidently tells Han that he is done for because the moment the headquarters finds out that he is beating people up, he is going to be punished. Yue tells Han that she is worried about the whole thing, but Han tells her not to worry because with Shutong backing them, nothing would happen to them. Just then, Hu gets the news that headquarters has replied, and Hu excitedly asks what the response was. Hu's subordinate nervously tells him that the reply they got was that they should handle the situation themselves, since it is an internal issue. Even the supervisory department was only impressed by Han's fighting prowess and even asked if he would be willing to join them. Hu angrily whips out his earpiece because he can't believe that they are being turned around because of bureaucratic trash. Han then asks him if he is finally ready to apologize, and Hu asks him what he wants. Han replies that he heard that he took the Wanderer's material that he and his team worked hard to procure. Han says what he wants is for Hu to open the organization's treasure vault and let him choose until he is satisfied on behalf of all his team members. Hu argues that this is not possible because the vault contains carefully selected valuables. Han is surprised that Hu is rejecting this when all he can pack with his two hands is very little. Just then, it dawns on Hu that Han is actually right because the number of items that Han can take out is minimal. Hu then agrees to the deal, but tells Han that he is the only one who is allowed to enter, and when he comes out, it will be confirmed that he has not hidden any valuables anywhere besides his hands. Han agrees to the condition because he has a trump card, which is the storage ring Shutong once gave him. Upon entering the vault, Han slams the door shut, and one of Hu's men asks him if he is sure that they won't regret the decision. Hu lets him know that the vault contains tens of thousands of items, and even he can't recognize some of them. Hu is confident that once Han steps into the vault, he is going to be lost in there. Hu knows for a fact that Han can't even take much, even if he recognizes the best treasure there. His subordinate agrees with him, saying Hu is totally right. While inside, Han whips out a treasure appraisal book, and he realizes that there are a lot of valuable things in the vault. Han looks around and points out all the valuable items sitting in the room. He wastes no time activating the ring, so he can suck in everything that is valuable inside the vault. An hour later, Hu is already getting worried that Han is still inside, but just then, Han steps out, thanking them for waiting for him. Yue rushes over to him, asking him how it all went, and Han assures her that he is going to tell her once they get back home. As the two leave, Hu and his men are confused that Han didn't take anything. Hu decides to call the vault manager to ask him. The manager mentions that he took 5 items, and Hu is already celebrating that 5 items are not much when the manager tells him that he is wrong, because Han took 50% of everything in the vault. Hu loses it when he hears this, and he promises that he won't let Han get away with this because he should have just stuck to 1 or 2 items. Hu tells his assistant to report to the headquarters, and the dude replies that he already did, but they repelled them, leaving Hu ultimately defeated. When Han returns home, he is glad that they dealt with Hu, and he talks about how eager he is to see if Hu will try to be arrogant again. Just then, Yue shows up with only a towel, and she tells Han to come to bed because it is already too late. Han's face turns red in shock, asking Yue what she meant by this. Yue explains that since he was injured the last time, she has been worried about losing him, so because of this, he shouldn't even think of escaping. They are in the middle of this when a girl in a nightdress enters the living room. Yue quickly jumps off of Han's body because they were not informed that someone else had started living in the house. Han asks her who she is, and she confidently replies that they are the ones living in her grandfather's house, and they don't know who she is. Han asks in shock if he is Shutong's granddaughter, and she confirms this, revealing that she is Ling Xen. Ling Xen tells Han that she already knows about him, and during the whole conversation, Han checks out her stats to see that she possesses a divine artifact, the Shenong Cauldron. Han is shocked to find out that she is one of the 10 divine artifacts, and he asks her if it is proper for her to wear the nightwear in the house. She replies that this is what is most comfortable for her when she is at home because staying this way helps her find inspiration to create. Yue asks her what she means by this, and she reveals that she is a popular novelist. Ling Xen then apologizes to Yue for ruining her moment, but asks her if she would like to continue. Yue is hesitant to answer, and Ling Xen tells her that if she doesn't, she might just take her position. She is about to rush over to Han when Yue grabs her, reminding her that she just met Han, and there is no emotional connection between them just yet. Ling Xen replies that no one needs an emotional connection to form a contract, and Yue is surprised to hear this. Han confirms that Ling Xen possesses divinity, and if she contracts with him, he can use his skill to awaken her a second time. This immediately gets Ling Xen hyped, and she immediately reaches for her shirt to tear it open so that they can get the contract underway. Han is confused about the whole thing, and he asks her what she is trying to do. She replies that she is trying to get the contract business underway, and Han asks her what this has to do with taking off her clothes. Ling Xen replies that in all of her books, signing a contract requires close contact before it can be completed. Han sighs in frustration, saying he finally understands her, and it appears that he has to save her. Han then activates the Divine Radiance to unleash her second awakening, which takes off her nightwear, making it feel like a warm flow is entering her body. The awakening ends up being successful, and Ling Xen awakens her SSS class contract spirit. It turns out that the Shenong Cauldron can refine items to their true essence. Han is stunned when he sees this because this means that Ling Xen's talent can extract spiritual energy. This means that he can easily obtain pure spiritual energy to break through to higher levels in the future. Since her talent appears to be pretty good, Han suggests that they try it out immediately. Yue then tells the two to go ahead while she gets water. While she is taking the water, she starts hearing weird things from the two as if they are inserting something inside each other. Yue quickly rushes back, only to see that the two are refining materials and putting the materials into the cauldron. After the refinement is done, a spiritual energy pill is produced, and Han explains that by consuming this, he can increase his spiritual energy by at least 1%. Yue is blown away by this, but Ling Xen suddenly pushes Han to the ground, telling him the fire inside her hasn't completely gone out. Ling Xen grabs Han, telling him to help her out. Han panics and urges Yue to help him out, but even Yue ends up joining her. The two put everything on Han, and they end up having a passionate time together. The next morning, Han wakes up totally exhausted from what the two did to him. The two commend him, telling him that he really tried his best. Han quickly moves past this, saying it is time for them to conduct their business. Ling Xen asks him what business he is talking about, and he reveals that they are to track down the Queen Bug and the missing members of the team. Ling Xen asks Han about the missing person, and Yue brings out Bai's picture. The moment Ling Xen sees the picture, she reveals that she's seen Bai before because she often goes dancing at nightclubs. Yue asks her how she knows this and reveals that she often goes to the same nightclub, and the nightclub is Breeze Nightclub, which is the largest club in the city. Han is glad when he hears this because he never expected that they would find a lead that soon. Han then whips out a canister and he sprays the contents on them, telling them that it is time to head to the nightclub. The two are disgusted by the smell of the content he is spraying on them, and they ask him what it is. Han reveals that it is hawthorn flower spray, which the bugs are highly sensitive to. In fact, when they smell it, they become unusually irritable and even go berserk. Upon arriving at the club, Han heads over to talk to the bartender, asking him if he knows any woman named Bai, but he mentions her alias. The moment the bartender hears this, he immediately becomes serious. To their surprise, the bartender raises a bottle of wine, and he tells everyone that Han has promised to pay for everyone present. The crowd goes wild, celebrating the free drink, while Han is totally confused. He asks the bartender what is going on, and the bartender reveals that the day before, another guest had shown up. He ran up a large tab on drinks, then said someone would cover, mentioning Bai's name to pay off the debt. Yue is surprised to hear this, and she asks Han who it might be. Han tells her not to think too much about it because he is pretty sure that it is Yifan. The bartender reveals that Yifan left something behind for him, and he tried to look into the box, but couldn't open it. Han collects the box, and he easily opens it to find a note. In the note, Yifan reveals that he and his brother Yiming successfully explored a nearby ruin, and when they returned, the Guardians organization rewarded him. The whole team then went to the Breeze Ballroom to celebrate. 1 month later, Yiming was reassigned to the front lines due to special reasons, and since then they have not heard anything from him. In the same month, who was the deputy captain, took over the duties of captain. He ends the note with the fact that the parasite worms will all be wiped out if the queen bug is killed. Ling Xen is totally confused by the note, and she asks Han what Yifan is trying to tell them in the note. Han mentions that the division of the queen insect started in February, and at the moment, there are a total of 7 parasites. Ling Xen finally understands what Han is saying, and Han urges them to wait for him while he uses the restroom. Upon entering the restroom, he walks past a man to quickly conduct his business. Suddenly, the man reacts to the smell of the hawthorn flower that is on Han. He lunges toward Han in anger, but Han easily knocks him back without even moving an inch. The dude is knocked to the ground and the parasite jumps out of his body. Han grabs it and squashes it before the 2 girls rush into the room, asking Han what the problem is. Han tells the 2 that the parasite had infected the man, who is the owner of the ballroom, but he had already dealt with it. Since there are 7 parasites in total, Yue is left wondering where the others have disappeared to. Ling Xen then says it is possible that Yiming's team members have been parasitized too. Han then suggests that they leave the club to find new clues, and suddenly, another dude comes lunging toward Han with a sword. Han dodges the attack before kicking him to the ground. Surprisingly, he has also been parasitized, but Han quickly destroys the parasite before it escapes. Yue recognizes the dude on the ground and says she is one of Hu's lackeys. This is when it finally dawns on Han that all the people who have been parasitized are connected to the Breeze Ballroom, starting from Yiming, the ballroom owner, and Bai. Basically, everyone who has been affected has been to the ballroom, and they are all connected to one person, Hu. At the same time, Han figures out where Yifan is going, and this is none other than Hu's place. Hu is busy having fun with one of his girls when Yifan barges into the room in anger. Yifan screams at Hu, telling him that he killed Yiming and also took his position while using the parasite bug to oppress and suppress talented awakened ones and spirit bonders. Yifan is pissed that even after Hu did all of these, he is still walking free. Hu teases Yifan, telling him that his woman just died, and instead of him hiding away to think about his life, he is coming out to lash at him. Yifan yells at Hu, telling him that everything that has happened is his fault and he is there to settle the score. Hu continues trash-talking, telling Yifan to blame his woman for her lack of luck instead of blaming him. Hu also asks Yifan if he is not scared of reinforcements because he has been standing there arguing with him. Before Yifan knows it, Hu's men show up on the scene, and Hu orders his men to kill Yifan because he openly attacked a key member of the Guardians organization. Realizing that they are about to descend on him, Yifan prepares himself to engage the thugs, but Han walks in at the right time, one-shotting all of the lackeys. Both Hu and Yifan are shocked to see Han. Yifan asks him why he is there, and Yifan asks him if he would still be alive if they hadn't shown up to save him. Yifan couldn't even say anything because he knew that Han was right. Hu then asks Han if he is sure that he wants to side with Yifan, and Han simply issues a warning to Hu's lackeys, telling them not to die for him because it is a personal meeting between him and Hu. However, they refuse and decide to attack Han instead. Since they have made their choice, Han doesn't hold back in beating them up one after the other. Moments later, they have all been knocked out, and even Yifan is stunned because it hasn't been long, but it appears that Han has really mastered his martial arts. Ling Xen quickly calls Han's attention to the fact that Hu is trying to escape, and Han goes after him with killing intent. Han punches him hard in the chest, knocking him to the ground. The moment Hu hits the ground, a parasite bug emerges from his head, and before it escapes, Han squashes it. However, Han is not entirely pleased because it is not the queen bug. Hu's lackeys lose their minds when they realize that Hu is dead, and they start screaming at Han, asking him if he's lost his mind. The moment Han sees that they are already pinning Hu's death on him, he realizes that they have fallen into a trap. An hour earlier, a female assistant had entered the city lord's office to give him a document to be signed, only to see the queen parasite sticking out of his head. What follows is the lady scream, but there is no one to hear her. Back at Hu's place, Han tells his team members to leave and find Shutong because he is the only one who can help them resolve the current crisis. However, they let him know that no matter what happens, they are going to stick with him. At the same time, the city lord, Kang Chuan, hands out an arrest warrant for Han, and he lets off an evil smile because he never expected his bait to be taken so quickly. Han is about to ditch his friends when an old man appears in the sky, riding a weird aircraft. The old man reveals that he is aware that he just killed an important member of the organization. He orders Han to get on his knees, and even though Han doesn't want to, the man's aura knocks him to the ground. Meanwhile, Shang is holding a meeting with Shutong, but he is not physically present. Shang is using one of his avatars for the meeting, and when Shutong asks him to reveal his true intentions, Shang refuses, telling Shutong that his prodigy has been captured and will be captured the next day. Shutong is about to lose it to attack the avatar until he is reminded that it is going to be a waste of time. Shutong has no choice but to back off, but he lets Shang know that more surprises are on the way. After Shang's departure, Lin asks Shutong if he has any plan to save Han, and Shutong reveals that he might have given the bad guys too much leverage. He is pissed that they think by capturing Han, they think they can control him when Han might actually be a trap he set for them too. Shutong tells Lin that life is like chess, and he commends Han for working so hard so far. In Han's cell, the old man from earlier asks him if he is finally ready to confess, but Han tells the old man that he has no crime to confess to. The man punches him in the chest, telling him to wake up because no one is coming to save him, and this includes Shutong. The old man reveals that Han only has two options, and the first one is for him to join them. He says they don't care about who he is or what he's done, but he should see them as the future, while Shutong is the past. The second option is to remain the way he is and face the guillotine the next day. Han then tells the old man that he finally understands that the fourth stage parasite worm was discovered by Yiming and brought back to the city. The old man tells him that he can see it this way, and he tells Han that the bug is not the enemy as long as it is used correctly. The old man says it can even become the most powerful tool, and Han tells the man that he finally understands how he should choose. The old man moves closer to hear what he has to say, and Han tells him that he is choosing the third option, which pisses the man off. The following day, Han's execution is to be televised for the crime of killing an important figure in the organization. Chuan is informed that everything has been put in place, and as soon as the time comes, the execution will proceed as planned. Chuan asks if Han's friends have been caught, but the officer says no, revealing that the trio is cunning because they must have hidden in the villa. Chuan orders the dude to go ahead and find the escapees, but at the same time, Chuan is worried that Han is too calm, which means he might have a trump card. On the other hand, Han is not showing any sign of panic because his master was the one who told him to let everything happen. He is convinced that his teacher has planned everything out already. The spectators who are there to witness Han's execution are all stunned because they remember that he is a high-level talent. Just then, Chuan shows up to address the people, and they are all shocked to find out that he came in person. Chuan tells everyone that Han killed so many people and even colluded to bring parasite bugs into the city. By saying this, he is able to sway everyone's opinion to himself, and they agree that Han has to die for committing such crimes. Chuan smiles because he realizes that everything is just as he wants it, and he orders the execution officer to go ahead. Han can only watch in horror as the giant blade hangs above his head, ready to decapitate him at any time. Surprisingly, the machine doesn't work, leaving the execution officer totally confused as to what is going on. Chuan immediately figures out that someone is messing with the machine, and he demands to know who it is. Just then, Sighting steps out from among the crowd with her guards behind her, telling Chuan that she can't accept his punishment because Han is her benefactor. Chuan is pissed when he sees this, and he asks Sighting if her family is intervening with the execution. At the same time, Han's team members pop out under their hoods, telling Chuan that they disagree with his decision. Meanwhile, Shang is telling Shutong that he has lost the game because Han is already at the guillotine, but Shutong assures him that the game isn't over just yet. Shutong says it is too early to draw conclusions, and Shang decides to watch what would happen. Shutong then gets a call, telling him that they have failed to track who is behind the whole thing. However, he learns that they have discovered an organization that is behind everything, and the organization is called Dawnbreak. Back on the execution grounds, the spectators are surprised that someone actually appeared out of nowhere to disrupt the whole thing. The people realize that everything has gotten complicated with the involvement of the Shang family. Sighting tells everyone watching that they have been deceived by Chuan, and she lets them know that Han is not a criminal because he is actually a protector of the people. Sighting then tells them to look at the screen in front of them. On the screen is a video of Han defeating Zerg monsters while protecting people. Sighting lets them know that Han is patriotic and there is no way someone who protects people as he does would suddenly become a traitor. Just then, the old man from before shows up on the scene again, and with a thunderous, overwhelming voice, he tells everyone to keep their mouths shut. He lets them know that executing Han is their mission at dawn break, so no one is allowed to interfere. The dude unleashes a giant palm aimed at Han to kill him, but his attack is blocked, and he is suddenly struck so hard that he is sent flying. The attack overwhelms him and later kills him, leaving everyone stunned, since they don't know who just attacked him. Sighting looks to her side and can see Shutong leaving the scene. However, Chuan is not about to accept that he's lost. He lunges toward Han to kill him, but Han breaks free because his master has already made his move, so it is up to him to take action too. Han easily dodges Chuan's attack, leaving Chuan ultimately stunned at his incredible speed. Before he knows what is going on, Han appears behind him and double smacks him in the head, knocking him to the ground. Just as expected, the queen emerges in his head, and before it can escape, Han grabs it to squash it. Everyone is shocked when they see Han killing a bug that emerged from the city lord's head. Han then holds the bug up in the air to explain to everyone that the bug is trying to disrupt humanity. He lets them know that everything he has been doing is for the sake of humanity. The people finally realize that the city lord was looking and acting strange because of the parasitic bugs. Shutong finally appears, asking Han if he was able to feel the line between life and death this time around. Han admits that he loves the way Shutong is cleaning up after him, but he tells the old man that he wants to start making the moves on his own. Shutong assures Han that he did well because the queen bug is dead, so the other bugs are also dead. However, he lets Han know that he handled the whole thing with an iron hand, and because of this, they couldn't find a trace of Dawnbreak at all. This is new to Han, and he asks his master what Dawnbreak is. The man tells him that it is a mysterious organization that infiltrated their guardians, but they haven't gathered more information on this yet. Han is shocked when he learns that there is an organization that is hiding among them. Just then, Ifan shows up to break the sad news that they found Bai's body. It turns out that a total of over 1,000 people died from the parasitic invasion. Apparently, they have planned a sea burial for the affected people, and just as said, Bai is among those who are laid to rest at sea. As Bai's coffin floats away, Han apologizes for not being able to protect her well. In a surprising turn of events, Bai's body suddenly turns blue, and as she opens her eyes, a bug emerges from her mouth, but no one knows that she's come back to life just yet. Later that October, Shutong asks Han if he and his contracted spirits have reached Tier 3, and he says yes. Even Ling Xen, who joined later, has also reached the 3rd tier. In addition, Yue has awakened many additional musical pieces that Han aims to practice in the future. Sighting then smiles at Han, urging him to form a contract with her when she awakens, but Han lets her know that he only forms contracts with spirits that have divine attributes because they offer him the greatest help. Upon hearing this, Sighting can only hope that she awakens with a divine attribute. Since Han has reached the 3rd tier, Shutong lets him know that he has nothing else to learn in the rear cities, and he asks him if he has any plans. Han lets his master know that he would like to continue getting stronger, and upon hearing this, Shutong tells him that he is going to contact Wei to arrange a plane that will take Han to the front line for more training. Apparently, the 1st district is about to engage in the last large-scale battle of the year with the insect species, so it is a good time for him. However, Shutong lets Han know that he is not going on a training regimen, which means Ling Xen and Yue won't be going with him. Shutong tells Han that he has better training arrangements for the girls, and Han assures his master that he is ready to follow whatever he says. Meanwhile, on the front lines, a particular team captained by a dude, Xiao Ya, is suffering heavy casualties, and they are in the middle of an argument when Han arrives in a military chopper. Han gets off the chopper and walks up to Xiao Ya to introduce himself, telling him that he is the new soldier that has been sent to his team. Xiao Ya is surprised that Han is the only one there without his contract spirit. Xiao Ya is pissed, and he yells at Han, asking him if he is ready to die on the battlefield. One of Xiao Ya's colleagues, Zhang, who is also a team leader, urges Xiao Ya to chill out, assuring him that Han is not a soft soldier. He tells his boss to take a look at Han's new clothes, which means he is from the city. However, this only pisses Xiao Ya even more, because he believes that they are basically saying he is a garbage dump, and he has always known nobles to cause trouble. After a short argument on who is going to get Han or not, Xiao Ya finally tells him to follow him to meet the rest of the team. On their way, they get to know each other, and Xiao Ya lets him know that he is a Tier 4 awakened. Moments later, they arrive at where the team is stationed, and Xiao Ya introduces him to Shifang and Xiao Qian, his new team members. Xiao Qian wastes no time flirting with Han, telling him to help her remove her coat. After she is done messing with him, she tells Xiao Ya that there is a possibility that Han brought his contracted spirit in its materialized form. Han introduces himself to the team and tells them that he brought a small gift for the team. He releases Tier 6 armor from his storage space and hands it over to the team, completely shocking them. Shifang and Xiao Qian celebrate like babies, but Xiao Ya says he doesn't need the armor because he is a mech operator. Deep down, Xiao Ya is wondering which great family Han emerged from. Xiao Ya then leaves to collect the mission supplies, while telling the rest of the team to start preparing. After he is gone, Han asks if the captain is truly a mech operator, and the two confirm this, revealing that his contracted spirit specializes in mechanized combat, allowing him to pilot mechs for long-range battles. However, he hates high-ranking officials who waste their positions. They have finished saying this before it dawns on them that Han might be a noble, and the lady apologizes to him. Moments later, Xiao Ya shows up, telling them that it is time for the mission. On their way to the mission site, Han asks the captain about the nature of their mission, and he reveals that it is complete extermination. He mentions the Izanami serpent clan that reproduces at an incredible rate, which allows their reinforcement speed on the battlefield to be truly crazy. Because of this, the front lines have been deadlocked against the elite forces of the Izanami serpent clan. However, Wei's arrival a month ago broke this stalemate. Wei led the charge alone, shattering ancient barriers with his fists and cutting through the Izanami serpent clan's reinforcement supply line, turning the tide of the battle. Wei's involvement caught the serpents off guard, but not long after this, 4 Tier 8 serpent emperors showed up to engage him in battle. They ended up dragging their battle elsewhere. It turns out that the current mission is issued by the 2nd District, and they are ordered to destroy serpent nests in the area. As they near the target area, Xiao Ya puts on his mechanized armor, and they soon run into a serpent molt that leaves them shaking. Xiao Ya reveals that every time the Izanami serpent clan completes a tier advancement, they shed their skin. Just then, Han tells the team that there is danger because the serpent clan managed to hide their eggs inside the molt. Just then, the eggs start to drop from the molt. And from Xiao Ya's analysis on his computer screen, he realizes the molt is over 6,000 meters long with billions of serpent eggs attached to it. Suddenly, the eggs start to hatch, releasing a massive sound wave and shockwave. Xiao Ya gets knocked off by the shockwave while the others cover their ears in pain. Surprisingly, Han leaps after him in an attempt to save him. Xiao Ya screams at Han, telling him to focus on the mission and ignore him, but Han is obviously not going to listen to that crap. He grabs Xiao Ya and his mechanized suit. He flings Xiao Ya back to the top of the cliff, and he tells him to pick him up. Xiao Ya returns to the top, and he is completely blown away by how strong Han is. The other two tell the captain that Han is most likely dead because the cliff is really high. Xiao Ya falls to his knees, blaming himself for Han's death, but Han's hand suddenly appears over the ledge. He yells at the team to quickly pull him up because he is not dead yet. The two help him up, and they rejoice in the fact that he is still alive. Xiao Ya berates him, asking him if killing himself to save him was worth it over completing the mission. Xiao Ya tells him that he must not forget their primary mission, and Han acknowledges this by saluting the captain. Just then, it dawns on them that all the eggs have hatched, releasing a ton of snakes. Xiao Ya tells the team to be careful, but Shifang and Xiao Qian conclude that they are dead already. The snakes hiss at them, scaring them to their bones. The lady realizes that with the snake numbers, they have no chance of escaping. Just then, Han raises his hand and a golden shield emerges from his ring. The aura from the shield affects the snakes and they stop their advance. In fact, the snakes bow to the team, shocking them. Han screams at the captain to burn them up while they are vulnerable, and the captain quickly does as told. He lets out an overwhelming firepower that roasts the snakes, and after he is done, they ask Han what he did to the snakes. Han reveals that he only intimidated them with a piece of equipment. The team admits that he is incredible, and Xiao Ya is forced to ask Han who he is because he is not like the other noble sons. Han casually tells the dude that he is just a Tier 3 awakened and nothing special. Suddenly, Xiao Ya gets a distress signal on his computer screen, and he reveals that the mission isn't going well with the other teams because few have only completed it. He admits that they would have failed too, if not for Han. Since Han has the ability to make the snakes bow, Xiao Ya believes that they have a chance at cutting off the snakes' paths to wipe them out. Suddenly, Han's expression changes, and he tells the team that if they don't run at that moment, they themselves are going to be wiped out ruthlessly. It turns out that a terrifying 5th rank snake just appeared on the scene, and the snake is utterly pissed because it is a nest guardian. Xiao Ya and the other two stand there in awe and shock, but Han is already running. When he turns around to see that the trio is still there, he screams at them, telling them to move. The other two agree with him that there is no way they would defeat the serpent, and they all turn to make a run for it. Xiao Ya stays behind to cover them, and he fires a powerful blast at the serpent. This only gets the serpent angry as it grabs Xiaoya with its mouth, crushing him alongside his mecha. The serpent then spits Xiaoya out, and seeing their captain get trashed, catches the attention of the other two. They are completely overwhelmed by this, giving the snake the time to close down on them. It tries to grab them with its mouth too, but surprisingly a shield appears around them, blocking the attack. The two thought they were dead already, but this is when it dawns on them that they are donning the armor that was given to them by Han. They are still celebrating this when the snake releases corroding liquid on them, burning through the shield, ultimately turning the two into black dust. Han watches in horror as his teammates are crushed. Just as the snake turns its attention toward him, Han prepares to engage the snake with everything he has. The snake charges toward him, but he leaps backward at the last second to dodge the snake's attack. The snake hits the ground with its mouth, but it is not about to give up. It goes after Han yet again, and just as Han is about to be eaten, a sword descends from above, crushing the snake's head. Han watches in horror, wondering who it is that basically one-shotted the 5th-tier serpent like it was nothing. A stunning lady then descends from above, and realizing that it was the woman who saved him, Han bows to offer his respect. The woman, Gongyang Jin, immediately compliments Han's beauty, but lets him know that she is not from the Great Xia. Jin says she is from the city of extreme evil, which is also known as the Land of Exile, as it is popularly called among the spirit contract masters. Han is initially confused when he hears the Land of Exile, but after giving it a quick thought, he realizes that Jin is talking about the lower district. Han cannot believe his eyes because Jin is actually an SSS-Rank talent, and she is currently an 8th tier awakened. Suddenly, she appears behind Han, asking him for the name of the song he played because she could feel every cell in her body amplified, which gave her the strength to finish the snake in one blow. Jin tells Han that she will be taking him back to the lower district because he would make for a good exclusive combat support. Upon hearing this, Han shifts backward, urging Jin to chill out, but Jin is pissed that a mere Tier 3 awakened is resisting. Han tells her that she can't leave just yet because his mission is not yet complete. Jin asks him what would happen if she forcefully takes him away, and he holds a knife to his own neck, telling Jin that he would just end his own life instead. Seeing how stubborn he is, Jin decides to ask Han if he wants him to follow her. Han could see that Jin is fond of him, and he figures out that it would be better if he takes advantage of the situation, so Jin could help him complete his mission. Han then tells her that he is going to go with her, but on one condition, and this is if she helps him completely annihilate the newly hatched Izanami swarm on the battlefield. Jin wastes no time agreeing to this because she was already expecting Han to make some stupid request. Han then shows her the target locations on the map, and she assures him that she has no issue with this. Suddenly, something dark pops out of her back, causing her to start acting weird. Jin screams at Han, telling him to run because she is about to lose control. Han senses the demonic aura, and instead of running away, he attacks it with a purifying energy that dispels the demonic aura. When Jin finally calms down, she asks Han if he was the one who helped her, and he explains to her that it was nothing but a small effort. Han then asks her about the wound on her back, and she confesses that she was injured by a Tier 9 insect emperor. She managed to escape with her life, but the serpent left her with this hidden damage. Apparently, what it left in her body can force her into a killing state, and upon hearing this, Han realizes just how terrifying a Tier 9 insect is. Han then asks her if he can take a look at her wound. After accusing Han of trying to take advantage of her, she finally agrees. Han takes a closer look and he lets Jin know that the wound is deep, but it is actually treatable. Han then does what he does best by engaging the healing skill. A good sensation runs through Jin's body as Han does this. Han then tells her that the demonic aura has been suspended, but he couldn't dispel it. Han then suggests that they try the cauldron. Jin is shocked when she realizes that Han has 2 spirit contracts. Han burns through the energy in the cauldron and directs its power toward Jin's affected body. Just like before, Jin almost passes out from sensation. After Han is done, he lets Jin know that it is halfway done, and Jin asks him if he can do it again because it feels really amazing. Han then tells her that he has already used all of his innate ability to absorb the essence of countless insect corpses to gain energy. Han tells Jin that to perform the same task, he is going to need a similar amount of insect flesh and blood. Since Han's next task is to eradicate the Izanami serpent clan, Jin grabs him and leaps toward the mission site so they can get it done pretty fast. Meanwhile, back at the station, Lin and the other officials are monitoring the situation on the ground via drones. They are worried that things have gone too far before they discovered the snake eggs because they have not hatched, which is a big problem. Lin realizes that the Zerg is intentionally forcing them to send high combatants to the battlefield, and he immediately orders that no one should be sent to the front line in the meantime. Back on the battlefield, Han and Gina arrive at the target location. Jin is about to unleash hell on the snakes when Han urges her to calm down because he would like to go first. Jin asks him if he is sure, and he leaps toward the snakes, assuring Jin that he knows his left from his right. Jin is impressed to see how crazy Han is. Han descends on the snakes and starts crushing them without mercy. The drone catches him, and those back at the station are shocked to see Han alone on the battlefield. They all believe that he is dead, and just when the snakes surround him to prove their point, Jin comes in clutch, destroying the snakes with just one shot. Jin continues wreaking havoc on the snake population with Han supporting her from behind. Han is able to unlock his full potential on the 3rd level thanks to Jin supporting him from the rear. Han unlocks a new set of power when engaging the beasts, and he wastes no time unleashing it on them as his new test subjects. Han displays an overwhelming level of power that even Jin is left speechless. Those at the station soon noticed Jin's presence, and they immediately recognized her. It turns out that she fought Wei and his wife a month ago, and the two barely repelled her. They thought she had left the area, but seeing her on the screen lets them know just how wrong they are. To make it worse, she has made contact with Han. Soon afterward, Han and Jin had finished clearing out the snakes, and Han tells Jin that he can now use the vitality creation again by absorbing the bodies on the ground. Once everything is ready, Han restarts the treatment, and Jin is hit with pain and pleasure during the treatment process. Han soon notices a black thorn lodged in the wound, and he asks Jin if he should pull it out or leave it. Jin wastes no time telling him to pull it out, and Han does as told, releasing a massive wave of demonic energy from her body.